Welcome to the Sexual Wellness Podcast, real life conversations with industry experts on modern sexuality and how to live a happy, healthy, turned on life. I'm your host, Laura Allen, a holistic sex, love, and life coach, passionately guiding women to expand their pleasure in and outside the bedroom. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Sexual Wellness Podcast. It is Boundaries Month, or Boundaries 2 months, potentially even 3 months, because boundaries is such a huge topic. Boundaries are the foundation of healthy relationships. Boundaries are the foundation of a healthy sex life. Boundaries are the foundation of all relationships, and life is relationships. You've probably heard me say that a million squidsillion times. So I'm dedicating the next, this is the second episode, there'll be 2 more in this series, to learning about boundaries and how you can get real damn good at them. And on that note, I am hosting a free masterclass. It's going to go for an hour. It's going to be super dope. I will put the link in the show notes. It'll also be available via the link in my Instagram. It's being held on Thursday, the 2nd of July. So that is in a couple of weeks. And that's 2020 for people who are back listening to this episode. Come and join. It's totally free to register. It's totally free to show up. All you need to do is bring your laptop, some earplugs, a journal, and a pen, and dive deep. We're going to be going into the fundamentals of boundaries and actually taking a step-by-step plan and creating an inventory so that you can start actioning these boundaries outside of the masterclass. Okay, we're not just going to be talking ethereal. There's going to be like action steps, tools, tactics, strategies, the whole shebang in this free masterclass. So go and sign up for it. It's just going to be amazing, and I'm going to be there, and it's going to be fun. So come. That's pretty much it on the news front. So let's get into this episode, and I want to talk to you guys today about how to set yourself up for success when it comes to setting boundaries, because it's one thing to perhaps identify that, you perhaps need to work on your boundaries. Perhaps you have weak boundaries, perhaps you have really rigid boundaries, or, some other kind of iteration of boundaries that are just no longer serving and are really becoming problematic in your life. So you realize that. It's like, okay, great. There's something that I am going to expand on. It's my boundaries. How do we do that? And I think the biggest mistake that so many people make is that they don't support themselves. They don't literally put the cushions around themselves while going and embarking on this journey of boundaries. And they inevitably fail, because we're all going to fail at our It's an awkward space to move into. Okay, there is no such thing as perfection when it comes to mastering boundaries ever. So it's inevitable that we're going to trip up. It's inevitable that it's going to be weird and uncomfortable. And so by the simple fact of surrounding ourselves with the support tools and networks that we need so that we can actually pick ourselves back up, get the support from our loved ones, not feel ashamed, not feel embarrassed, and continue moving forward, is going to set you up for success and determine your transformation when it comes to setting boundaries. So the first point, and this is kind of an obvious one, but I gotta say it, and that is educate yourself. Seriously, knowledge is power. So the fact that you're listening to this podcast is great. There are so many tools out there about how to learn about boundaries, how to learn about codependency, how to learn about your childhood upbringing, because yes, this is psychology. It all comes to your upbringing, to your childhood, where you're storing shame. Like, what is it that holds you back from asserting your voice? What is it that holds you back from setting new healthy boundaries for yourself? Like, what is it that holds you back? Like, where is that kind of shame and fear coming from? So diving into the root causes. Now we're going to be going into that in my Boundaries Safe and Free course that's coming up just after the masterclass. So don't worry if you're listening to this going, what the actual hell is she talking about? We're going to dive so deep into it there, and you're going to have a ton of support. So keep that in mind. But in the meantime, go down that rabbit hole, just like get on internet, learn about, healing your inner child, just like really start to equip yourself with the tools and the language and the general understanding of what all of this stuff really means. Because without these boundaries in our lives, we're going to be going into default codependency. And it is so human to have codependency tactics. Like even myself, I still have them. And it doesn't matter how conscious or evolved or like enlightened you are. It's like, it's naive to think that once we've healed a wound, it will never come back again. Life is simply a continuous spiral where we continue to grow, but it happens in circles. Our wounding is always going to be the same. And life and the universe will continue to test us, and we will continue to expand and grow and evolve. So just know that all of this work is just a part of life. It's fun. Embrace it, enjoy it, learn about it. Go down that rabbit hole, educate yourself. The next step, and this is another thing that we'll be going into in depth in Boundary Safe and Free and in the masterclass, and that is establish your values. So how can you assert boundaries if you don't actually know what you're standing up for? If you don't know what you believe in, if you don't know what you value in love, in sex, in life, then you can't actually assert any boundaries that are yours. It's actually really easy for us to kind of adopt and be influenced by the boundaries of those around us, when actually it is our jobs to tune in to our authentic self and understand what it is that our body is truly needing. There's that kind of classic, I'm only going to sleep with him after the third date or after X amount of time. Like those kind of commercial scenarios that we hear in Cosmopolitan and so on and so forth. That is an external kind of boundary expectation that a lot of people just adopt, when actually it's not in full alignment with their values and what they need and want in sex. So something that could be more aligned for you is, I'm not going to sleep with him until I feel X, Y, and Z. There's a big difference in that. And then there's no time limit. It's not as kind of external, or it doesn't have any, it's not sort of tangible in that way, because so much can happen. Sex is complex. And just like adopt another perspective that doesn't align with you is setting you up for failure. So be sure that when you are setting boundaries, so tune in with your values. Make sure you understand what's important to you. How much time do you want to spend alone? How do you want to feel when you're in a relationship? How do you want to move through life? How do you want to engage with people? All of this kind of stuff. Again, we're going to be going into it in super detail in the course. So but get clear on your values. Okay, that's going to wrap up that point. That was very roundabout, and I repeated myself a million times, but I feel like you've got the point now. Okay, the next one. So there's 4 more to go, and this is a really important one. Okay, guys, really, really super important. And this is communicate to everyone, especially those in your instant circle, that you are working on your boundaries. Okay, and this kind of might sound a little bit weird or like an awkward thing to talk about in conversation, but it is so crucial that you establish realistic expectations with your friends, family, and your loved ones, that this is something that you're going through, that this is something that is really important to you, and this is also something that is probably going to feel really awkward and uncomfortable in the beginning, and you're requesting their support, so that when you trip up, or that when things kind of feel a little bit weird, that they're on your side. They understand what's going on, and they can stop and pause and give you the space that you need to get back on your feet and keep moving forward. Tell everyone, even if it's uncomfortable. Tell your parents, hey, look, I'm learning about healthy boundaries right now. It's so important to me that I establish these for my own mental health and for the sustainability of our relationship. And I would love it if you could support me in this. It's probably going to be really awkward. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm really going to try. So if we could just keep the lines of communication open, if you could please just be so patient with me as I evolve in this really important piece of healthy relating, that would be great. I mean, say it in your own words, but really let them know how important it is for you. Be vulnerable. Be like, look, I'm going to mess this up. I don't really know what I'm doing, but all I know is that it feels really good and really important that I do it. So please, can you support me in this? Boom. Friends, family, lover, partner, everything. Tell everyone. Set yourself up for success. The next point, and I touched on this earlier, so we won't spend too much time on it, but that is let go of perfection or perfectionism or being a perfectionist. Let it all go, because there will never, ever, ever be any such thing as having perfect boundaries. The fact of the matter is our boundaries continuously change all throughout life. What we value now, we might not value in a year or 5 years or even 6 months' time. That is the beauty of life. We are constantly evolving and changing and growing as human beings. And we can adjust and adapt our boundaries to grow with us. We don't need to let our boundaries keep us in a certain place, okay? Like sometimes we make our boundaries more rigid so that we can heal in certain areas or so that we can gain new perspectives. And then once we have really deeply embodied this new thing that we're trying to learn, once we're really feeling it in ourselves, we're feeling confident with it, that's when we can start to loosen our boundaries a little bit, because we know deeply within ourselves at that point where to draw the line, and we don't need such harsh, rigid boundaries in place. A really great example of that could be, I'm quitting alcohol and I'm not going to go to bars or to parties where there's alcohol around me because there's too much temptation. And my boundaries aren't yet at a place where I can confidently say no to that temptation yet. Do you see what I mean? And then, after a month, 2 months, whatever, you might be at a place where you're like, okay, I'm really solid in my sobriety. I feel completely comfortable going out to parties and to bars and being around people who are intoxicated, and it doesn't sway or bend my personal boundaries. So that's just an example. So let go of the perfectionism of it all, because there's no such thing. And by letting go of the perfectionism, you're going to be, once again, setting yourself up for success and knowing that you're probably going to trip over it a lot, and it's okay. So yes, moving along. The next point is, don't put yourself in vulnerable situations. Okay, so this is kind of a follow-on from that last point, but say, for example, within your sexuality, if you are still learning how to really listen to your Yoni's yes and no during sex or before sex, and what I mean by that is like when you perhaps are engaging with a new partner, and you have a tendency to go into sex too quickly without getting that consent from your body and your pussy first. Okay, super, just like normal thing to do. Many of us do that throughout life. But sex is so empowering to only allow it to happen when it's a full body yes, when you're super engorged, when your yoni is fully consenting to that energetic exchange. I have a meditation in Juicy, my meditation pack. It's called Mindful Penetration, and it is all about this. And oh my God, it's life-changing. But what it'll do is it'll really help you to get deeply in tune with your vagina, with your pussy, so that you can really develop those consent and those boundary and those trust muscles when it comes to engaging in sex. Because it can be hard. Eros, erotic energy, is just like alcohol. It's very intoxicating. And so if you're turned on, then, that boundary for you might be very easily moved and swayed. So my point here is, if you are in a place where you're still learning and growing your boundary muscles, don't put yourself in a vulnerable situation. Keep your interactions with this person. I'm just using this as an example, but it's relatable to many things in life. Keep your interactions with this person in public spaces or semi-public spaces, so you can still have a sexy time, but there's really no opportunity for you to be engaging in anything too X-rated because you're in a public space. So what you're doing is you're looking after yourself. You are setting yourself up to win. You're setting yourself up for success because you've got a boundary. You're trying to exercise it. You know that in the moment you have a tendency to sway and get really excited and intoxicated, but you also know in your heart that at this time that's not something that you're wanting. So don't put yourself in a vulnerable situation, okay? Look after yourself. Put the boundaries in place to make sure that you aren't going to fall off the wagon. Okay. Now, the final point that I want to bring to you is stay strong, okay? A lot of boundary work and everything is really unblocking your no. How hard is it to say a simple no? Have you ever just really felt into that? Have you ever just kind of said a blunt no to someone and then afterwards felt the guilt and the shame and the fear of rejection of, oh no, what if I stand up for this and, then this person leaves me or doesn't like me, or if I upset the other person, and so on and so forth. I mean, there are a million different iterations of that kind of codependent thinking, but I want you to understand now that learning to unblock that no, that flexing your boundary muscle is not going to feel effortless and easy in the beginning. And I'm telling you this just so that when you are being tested, because you will be tested, believe me, when you start setting boundaries, the universe is going to be throwing you all sorts of stuff to say no to. And it's going to feel hard. Say, for example, you are no longer wanting to attract fuckboys. You are I am ready for a relationship and all of this kind of stuff. You literally need to not entertain any fuckboy activity for a split second. And if you're someone who's used to perhaps overlooking red flags, if you're someone who's used to giving someone, many chances and just, going with that intoxicating feeling of excitement and flirtation and sexual energy and chemistry and just going with that, ignoring the red flags, ignoring the messages from the universe that this guy is a fuckboy, that is a test that perhaps you're not passing. And it's okay. It's okay. Just because you didn't pass, a test from the universe doesn't mean that you go back to zero and have to work your way up the entire life ladder again. It just means that you still need to do work. You still need to unblock your no there. You still need to raise your self-worth. There's still a lot to go through in that. And again, we're going to be going way deeper into that in the Boundaries Safe and Free course. We're going to be doing a whole module on unblocking our no's and empowering our yes. So just a word of caution, to set yourself up for success, understand that it's going to feel comfortable when you're setting these boundaries, when you're putting up those no's. It's going to feel uncomfortable because it's something that you haven't done before, and your brain doesn't yet know that it's actually safe to stand up for yourself. You can actually attract even more love, even more abundance, even more joy when you do so. But we haven't yet learnt that. And so by taking small steps, understanding that it's going to feel hard, and just slowly rebuilding those positive neural pathways that affirm to us that setting boundaries is safe, setting boundaries is good, all of that kind of stuff, just know that it's going to feel uncomfortable. So be really gentle, take all the time that you need to equip yourself with all of those fluffy support cushions so that you can start asserting boundaries with ease and grace, and in a way that is really grounded. And you're not going to completely fall off the wagon and never try again. Gosh, a little rambly today, guys, but I feel like I got everything that I wanted to say into this episode. That's it from me. Don't forget to sign up for the masterclass, okay? Thursday, the 2nd of July, 2020. And that is New Zealand time, by the way. Go into the link in the show notes. Go onto my Instagram, which is _Laura, LAURA, _Ellen, ELLEN. You can find it in the link in my bio. Go onto my website, www.laura-ellen.com. The information is front and center there, so you'll absolutely be able to find it. Just sign up for it. There'll be heaps of reminders to make sure that you can be there, and I'm really looking forward to it. In the meantime, if you've got any more questions, if you've got a specific topic that you'd really like to learn about in this boundaries piece, then please don't hesitate in reaching out. And have an amazing week, and I will be back with another episode soon. If you enjoyed this episode, hit like and subscribe, or share it with someone who you feel could benefit from hearing it too. My mission is to bring healthy sexuality to the mainstream, so be sure to leave your 5-star review on your favorite podcasting app, because that way this content can land in the ears of those who need it the most. If you're looking for more resources on how to live a turned-on life, check out my website at www.laura-allen.com, where you'll find events, coursework, free downloadable workbooks, as well as my coaching packages. And lastly, I want to thank you for taking the time to prioritize yourself in this exquisite way, because when we do, that's when we can really start to show up for the rest of the world. And until next time, thank you so much for listening, and I'll be back with another episode soon.